Alright, it's Rockthahouse1 here with another YouTube wrestling show. Sorry for the delay and the non-review of the past couple of Raws, but again I've been sidetracked and busy, but I will get back to that soon, and I promise you that. Now what I wanted to talk about here is not just the Royal Rumble, even though I have done my predictions a couple of weeks back, but I wanted to talk about my personal ideal WrestleMania card. Now, to start off with the Rumble, I honestly am not as excited for the Rumble as I probably should be. Yes, it will be good, but there's just something that doesn't excite me about it. Like, let me get started. I am, in a sense, looking forward to Rock versus Punk. Now, I do want Punk to win. I'm not a big Rock fan, and I will say that right now. I'm more of an Austin guy if you want to go Rock or Austin. But this is exciting, and whether or not they go with Rock winning, or if they go with Punk winning, I would much rather them go with Punk, and I'll explain why later on in this video. As for the whole element of the Shield not being allowed to interfere, does that open up the possibility for Lesnar interfering? Yes. Do I hope that happens? Yes. Do I think it will happen? No. I actually do think this will be a clean match, and I think Punk will go over clean. But if he doesn't, Now, Rhodes Scholars versus Team Hell No. For me, I like both teams. I like all four people in this match. Sandow is such a good heel. Reminds me of the suit wearing Chris Jericho. Now, one of my problems with The Miz is, yes, he's too much like Jericho. And yes, I know I like Sandow because he reminds me of Jericho, but Sandow is the intellectual savior of the masses. He does it in such a way that you can't help but to like him. He's honest, and we all know how likable a quality honesty is. I would love someday for him and Jericho to feud. I don't see it happening, but I would love for it too. There's no doubt about that. And Cody Rhodes, he's grown on me, I'll be honest. His Intercontinental title run is what definitely showed me, hey, this guy's got a lot of talent. Yes, when he first came on the scene, I was always a bigger DiBiase fan when they were in Legacy, but I was all on Rhodes until his IC title run. Kane, huge Kane fan here, and I know a lot of people hate me for this, but I actually prefer Kane to The Undertaker. I respect The Undertaker a lot, but there's just something about that Kane character which draws me more to him than The Undertaker. And Daniel Bryan, needless to say, he is the best technical wrestler in wrestling today. No doubt about it. Sorry to Punk, I love Punk too, but Bryan's better in that regard. As for who do I want to win? Rhodes Scholars, actually, and I'll explain to you why later. But yeah, I want Team Rhodes Scholars to go over here. Doesn't necessarily have to be clean, but I'd still want to see him go over. For the pre-show, Cesaro versus Miz. I'm a fan of both guys, but I think Cesaro's no American can beat me gimmick should stay intact against Miz. Yes, Miz has got the rub from Flair and he's doing a figure four, but he's still got to learn how to apply the figure four correctly, and he's still got to keep building up. So I would rather Cesaro go over here. As for who I would have him lose the US title to, Jack Swagger. Not the biggest Swagger fan, but I do like him, and I think the all-American gimmick is what tips me over the edge for wanting him to be the guy who ends Cesaro's US title reign. My next point here is the Rumble match itself. This is one of the reasons why I don't want Miz to win the US title. I want Miz to win the Rumble. I think he is the face of the future. There's no doubt about that in my eyes at all. But I don't think he will. Who do I think will win? Cena. We all know that they are looking towards Cena Rock 2 at WrestleMania. Do I want that to happen? No. Do I think it will? Yes. Unfortunately. But that's another story for another time, and I've already ranted on that a couple of times before. Who would I like to be the final four? I'll tell you this. Cena will be one of them. Miz is another. Dolph is the third. As for number 4, Sheamus. I wouldn't mind seeing Sheamus in number 4. And I'll explain to you why. Because I want Royal Rumble to build the seeds for a Sheamus Orton feud at WrestleMania. Now, the World Heavyweight Championship match. Big Show versus Del Rio. Now, unlike a lot of people, I like Big Show. I think he's intense. I think he's actually alright for a big man. And I do like Del Rio, although he did get stale and stagnant as a heel, sorry, which means that this face turn was perfect for him. Now, let me tell you this match. Del Rio should win this match, because I don't want him to be known as a transitional champion, as he was when he won the title at SummerSlam. He was a transitional champion for Punk or Cena. We knew that. Did we expect Punk to hold the title this long when he won it? No. But we all knew Del Rio wasn't going to hold it for that long. It's the last man standing match again, just like their great match on SmackDown in Miami a couple of weeks ago. I'd like to see another good match between these two, and I think they will deliver. So I'm going Del Rio to win again. Now, for WrestleMania, here would be how I would book it. The opening match. Bryan versus Kane. I would have Team Hell No split up sometime between now and WrestleMania. I love the team, but I think all good things must come to an end, and I think a WrestleMania match between these two would be good to see. Kane can still work for a 45-year-old. He can still go. And Bryan, nothing else needs to be said about Bryan. We all know how big a fan I am of him. The second match. Orton versus Sheamus. As I said, I wanted a feud between those two to be a belt at the Royal Rumble. I don't think it needs a title in order to be a good quality feud. Now, I don't like Orton. He's boring on the mic, but I can't deny his ring skills. He's a brilliant storyteller in the ring. Sheamus, I like Sheamus as a face. Was never a big fan of him as a heel, but as a face he's become more relatable in a sense. Who I think will win? Again, just like the Bryan Kane match, I'm not going to predict that yet. Now the third match I would put up, Del Rio versus Ziggler. Dolph versus Del Rio will be the Punk versus Jericho of this WrestleMania, should it happen, and should WWE want to go that way. Now, when would I have Dolph cash in? I would honestly have Dolph cash in either the week before the Elimination Chamber or the week after. Have Del Rio retain and have him get his rematch at WrestleMania. Not win at WrestleMania. I would keep Dolph with the title for 2 or 3 months maybe. But I would definitely have that match, because I reckon it will steal the show. Now, Undertaker. I would have him face Punk. WWE title on the line. Versus the streak. I know people are saying, oh, the streak should end. In my opinion, it should not. but I can understand why people think it should. Because yes, wrestling is about building new stars, and you will do that if you do have the Punk walk out still champion, end the streak, because it will mean the guy who beats Punk gets a huge boost. And for me, I would hope that would be Miz, honestly. But yeah. Now, who would I have face Rock? I didn't explain this in my Rumble prediction, but Lesnar. I did say Lesnar, but I didn't explain why I would want Lesnar to return. Rock versus Lesnar would be a good match, I think. They actually never got their rematch from SummerSlam 2002 when Lesnar went over Rock. Now I know they're thinking Lesnar Triple H, but I would have that in Elimination Chamber and add the stipulation that if Brock wins, he gets Rock at WrestleMania. I would have Brock go over again. Even though yes, Triple H is more likely to win, I would want to see Brock go over. As for Cena, there are some opponents you could have face him, but I'm not got one in my mind. I was thinking Cena, maybe a 3-on-3 tag match, maybe have Cena, Ryback and someone else, don't know who, versus the Shield, if you want to take it that far. Or even a tag match with Cena and Ryback versus Rollins and Ambrose. Where it goes over there, maybe the Shield, or maybe you have the faces win. But as for Triple H, I wouldn't have him on the card. Honestly, I think the end of the era was a great farewell for him. It was a good one for Taker too, but I think Taker Punk will be in a good match. Whereas Triple H, I think, needs to settle into the backstage role and keep doing what he is right now. That is all I've got for now, so feel free to start a conversation like this, and I'll be bringing you another video very shortly. Alright, this is Rockthahouse1's signing out for now. Bye!